I do not run like I'm running aimlessly. For a speaker who loves to run, contradictory, right? Usually on my morning runs, the border men will tell me, "Ofa chinensi." That might be the case for me and my running, because to other people it seems aimless, but it might also be the case for some of our students. In their own families, someone might be asking, why are you actually studying that course? Especially with some of the unemployment rates that we have in our African countries. You ever get such questions? A lot. Even for the staff, I'm sure we have individuals who wonder why we do what we do. Now, aimless, in my opinion, does not mean aimless in regard to what everyone else believes. But the aimless that is dangerous, in my view, is aimless in service to God, and also aimless in the way you understand your purpose in life. And I'm going to drive that purpose and take it into the angle of nutrition and health and well-being. And why I'm doing this is because at the end of the day, you understand your individual reason for doing what you do. If you spend 24 hours in a day, maybe you spend 12 of the hours serving as a staff, maybe you spend 8 of the hours as a student. What that means is that takes up most of your time, and it is by which people know you. You realize that when you're saving someone's number in your phone, you sometimes add where you phone them or what they do. In most times, what they do and in the way they would serve you. That means the purpose they would have to you. Well, for the preacher, the reverend, since I'm a preacher now, it's important that he nurtures you spiritually and you also nurture your family and friends spiritually. It's also important for us to remember that the spiritual career purposes that we hold need a healthy body. And I'll go back to what I started with. Well, me running may seem aimless. It's not aimless if it's for a purpose for me to stay fit. Well, you waking up and having a healthy breakfast may seem a waste of time. It's not a waste of time because you're nourishing your body. So I want to just give examples of the day-to-day habits that we have that could help us nourish our bodies better. Because in my opinion, if you really want to be a purposeful person, it's impossible to be purposeful when you're sick and tired. A colleague of mine loves to say, you cannot serve God when you're looking tired and hungry and so sick. Well, people understand that you can come out of it. I believe that they would believe you more if you actually looked healthy. Do you agree? So let's have a conversation about healthy body, caring for our body like it has a purpose. The younger people in this room will say, we shall all die, even those who eat healthy. But I want to tell you that those who eat healthy stay around in a healthier way. For example, if this gentleman is healthy, he will be able to sit upright and listen without pain. But when he's in pain, he will not be able to come for service or community worship and stay for over 30 minutes because he's unhealthy. So let's go through the daily habits. First action or habit that I love to talk about is sleep before we even talk about food. How many hours do you sleep on average? 5? 2? Someone says, I slept at 3 and I woke up at 5. I used to be that person who brags about being able to sleep short hours. It sounds like you're perfect, right? You know how to sleep for a short time, maximize productivity, use most of your hours for work. And you know what happened one day is I almost woke up at the point of knocking off a boda man off the road. What had happened is I had dozed for seconds. I thought I was awake, but I was dozing. And for the scientists, all of us are researchers in a way. There is a story of people who are software engineers who are put in a room and they are told to do software development for a week. In the first days, because they had come from a place of good sleep, they were developing code or programs that were perfect. As the days went by in the workshop, they were denied sleep, and by the last days, the software or code that they were developing had a lot of errors. What that meant is that they had to redo the what? The work. In the event that this doesn't make sense to you, I'll talk about it for anyone who is doing work or school and you need to take in hours of reading. If you're the kind of person who tells yourself that I can read without sleeping, just notice that most of the time when you read without sleeping, when you later on have a nap, you come back and reread the work you read before while you were sleepy. So who is fooling who? Isn't that being aimless in a way? Because you're telling yourself you can read without adequate sleep, and in the long run, you have to reread what you read because your brain was not taking in the way it would have taken in if you had had quality sleep. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have a notebook, please write down what time you're going to be going to bed and what time you're going to wake up in a way that gives you 7 hours. 7 to 8. People are saying, Your brain suffers when you don't sleep. And in case you're not convinced, it is the reason why in prison, one of the torture mechanisms that is used is actually sleep depriving the prisoners of sleep. Have you heard of stories of people who have been tortured? They keep pouring on them water so that they stay awake. Why do you think they try to stay awake? It's because they know if you keep someone awake for more than 24 hours, 36 hours, 72 hours, it has a negative impact on them. And most of the time, by the third day, you're releasing all the secrets they do want to tell you because you're tired, you're deprived, you're tortured. So please write down how much time you're going to sleep. And for me, that's part of being aimful and having a discipline. If it means that the first activity in your day is prayer so that it prompts you to wake up, do it. I know someone who sleeps at 8 a.m. and wakes up at 3 and starts the day with prayer. So they do that so that at 3 they feel they cannot sleep more because they'll feel guilty for missing the 3 a.m. prayer. For some of you, it could be your class calendar that helps you run when you wake up and when you go to class. 7 hours to 8 hours of sleep is what is needed by an adult. And for the younger ones, it's even less. I don't think I have any more convincing words, but for you to practice the sleep habits for sleep. The second action I want to talk about is exercise. I'll do the nutrition last because it's what I love most and it's good for me to do it last so that I give it the detail it needs. Exercise. How many of you exercised yesterday? This is a big room, and I love the honesty. And I love that we're in the presence of worship and praise and God, because usually when I ask this question in a clinical room, the patient, knowing that I'm going to judge them, says, you see, for me, I like football. Then you say, but when did you last play it? March last year. So it's not about if you love a particular sport. It's about the question of, did you exercise yesterday? Yes or no? If it's a no, then you need to find the slot to actually do the exercise. Now, health workers, nutritionists aside, are known to have the cliche of please exercise all the time we're asking you to exercise. But I'm just going to list a few things that are impactful to you, of those of you who want to live a life of purpose and have healthy bodies. When you exercise, one, I'll start with the students. There is numerous evidence, even after this session, you can go and read into the studies, that shows that children, students, adults who exercise have better brain performance. There is even an interesting image that shows that as you take a walk, as opposed to sitting for 20 minutes, your brain becomes more active and you're able to think of ideas more with clarity as you take a walk, as opposed to when you're seated. Isn't that interesting? Because someone would say, what can I do to improve productivity? And I could say, take a 20 minutes walk if you feel stuck in the middle of the day. Come back and resume that task. Most of the time, you do that task better. And for purposes of living in harmony with our friends, exercise also allows you to calm down. Instead of pulling at each other and saying what you wouldn't have said, because we cannot take back words. And in the scripture that we read, I really love the word aimless. And I'm going to dive into aimless words a bit. It's off exercise, but I think it's important since I'm given the opportunity. I believe, I don't want to say as Ugandans, as Africans, but I'm going to say it as Ugandans or Africans. And it's my opportunity to talk about it since I have an audience. We have become so comfortable with using words aimlessly without thinking of the impact it has on other people. And since I'm speaking about health, I believe it has an impact on mental well-being. I have met people in my career, for example, who have failed to achieve their goals because they believe there is no support. As they try to say exercise, a lady told me, you see, I wake up to exercise, my friends find me on the road and laugh at me. For you, you've always been big. It will not work. I give you 1 week, you will stop. You cannot commit. It may sound like banter. It sounds like something you say to someone by the road because maybe you have nothing else to tell to them, but it can impact them. And this lady believes she cannot commit to exercise because of what people say. But I also brought it up because we have parents and future parents here. Aimless words like, I'm sure some of you already have words in your minds. The things that we have been told as children. And they are said as if in love. I wish you well, so you know kukugambako. I have to tell you. And it affects people's confidence, feeling of self-worth. Again, I'm not saying people shouldn't be told when they are wrong or right, but I'm just reminding us that aimless may not only mean what you read in the scripture, but it can also mean the way we talk. I read a piece that was saying one of the things we do more in a day is talk. You know, we eat, we talk. What other thing do you think you use your body for more than talking? Walking, sleeping, thinking. So talking forms a key part of our day. And that means if you're to become a person of purpose, the words that you say form a very key part of who you are. But anyways, I was talking about exercise, and that was a side note. When you go and have an exercise session, your body releases happy hormones. For the health workers in the room, you'll explain that better. And it has been shown that you have less stress, or you manage stress better if you are a person who exercises. That means it will reduce the number of times you need to say aimless words to other people that you can never take back. Because I don't know a person who is angry and then goes for a walk and comes back with the same level of anger. I don't know that person. And if you're still angry, go back for another walk. You hit 2 birds with 1 stone. You get to exercise and also become less stressed with the anger that you could be having. So those are two: sleep, exercise. Now, if you didn't get a chance to exercise yesterday, and you did not also get a chance to exercise the whole of the first 6 months of the year, I'm not asking you for so much. There are people who have never exercised. The only exercise they do is walk around the university because they have to. But if there was an option of a scooter, they would not do that as well. So if you're the kind of person who does not have a routine yet, you could actually start small. I always tell people, if you've never exercised, start with 2 minutes a day. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. It's even shorter than the prayer we say before food. Just 2 minutes. Or you could bundle it with your food time, or you could bundle it with your shower. When you're forming behavior, it helps you to bundle something with a habit you already have. So if you already bathe daily, those who do, I might be presuming that this is a habit people already have. So those of us who bathe every day, we will bundle our exercise habit with our before shower activity. You tell yourself, before I go to bathe, I could exercise. So you sweat a bit, then you take your shower, if you're struggling to build the habit. Those of you who are not yet bathing every day, start from that part. That was a joke. So please start small and start exercising. When you exercise, your body allows you to even build the best bone mineral density. What that means is that you build the best bone strength as a person who exercises as opposed to a person who does not exercise. So your body is in a better space when you move it. We are human, we have 2 legs, we are not cabbages that sit in one place every day. Please move. Today morning, I saw my 94-year-old grandfather walk a bit and a bit. And even with him, it started with one walk around the house. And I think by the 3rd day, he was feeling good every time he would walk. Now he asks, because he can't see, he says, is it midday? He takes a walk. Is it 2? He takes a walk. I think the first 3 days, which were a must by force, because we kept telling him you must walk, I believe he found a benefit, and later on, he started doing it on his own. My point is that you will not enjoy exercise until you try. So I may not convince you enough, but if you go try it out, you'll see the benefit and you keep doing it. Now, the food part. I have exactly 15 more minutes. I'm going to take 10 minutes to just talk about food. And then we shall leave the 5 minutes for if there is a question. Food. You have one body. And one of the things that you do every day is eat. From the word go, from the time you're born and you start crying, they say breast milk. And again, I remind you, you have one body and you own it for life. Now, what surprises me is that this one possession we have for life, I can change this microphone, I can change a car, I can change a university, but you cannot change your body. Well, there are some organ transplants, but you can never change your entire body. And for most of the organ transplants, the person giving it to you should be lifeless. Some of them, like heart transplants. That means that you have one what? And it's yours for what? For life. Now, knowing that fact, I'm always surprised by how little people care about what they put in that body. Imagine you had a car and they told you you're going to have that one car for all your life. How would you take care of it? Or a phone. Let's relate on phones, since most of us are addicted to our phones. They are. If you look at your screen time, those of you who are looking for time to prep healthy meals, you can scroll and look at how much time you spend on your screen. You might find it's in 12 hours, 8 hours screen time on your phone, without even counting the one you spend on your laptop. So let's use those possessions that we love. Imagine they told you you had one phone. even just for a decade, how would you take care of it? Very well. It can't fall down, you would wipe it, it would be dust-free. I have a feeling you would even take it for makeovers every week, just to make sure it remains perfect. Now, that's the caution we take with material things that can actually be replaced. Another example is when we are buying a dress. You look at the dress or a coat, you're like, is this Turkey? Is this India? Which brand? Which material? You look at it from far, from near. You tell the person, switch on the light, I see. You look at all its shades. You wear it. You even ask, is it new or second use? You ask a lot about the outer clothing. Now, I want the same focus you give to the outer items and your possessions. Is the engine good? But is your heart good as you're drinking excess alcohol? You get my analogy? The same emphasis we put on the material possessions, let's borrow that for this one possession we own for life. So let's just ask ourselves questions about our different body organs, and I'm going to explain why for each. So if someone says, is your heart good? Is your heart healthy? Can you comfortably say yes, and I'm doing my best to keep it so? Can you? What are you doing to keep your heart healthy? In the whole day your heart has been working, but what have you done to keep it healthy? So there is that one thing we can do nutritionally to keep our heart healthy, of course, in addition to the exercise. Two, actually. One is reducing your salt intake. And I'm not asking you to not take salt. I'm just saying take less salt. Not zero, but less. Some people, the salt they eat is so bitter, but they enjoy it. Why? Because they're used to that amount of salt. Now, that could not be a problem, but the problem is we know excess sodium use harms your heart. So every single day you're taking excess salt, it harms your heart. In case you're worried about eating food that's not tasty because I'm asking you to reduce salt, you can improve the taste of the food by using natural herbs and spices like cinnamon, rosemary, you put garlic, like you put natural herbs and spices in your food. It enhances the taste so that you don't have to put excess salt. The second one is something that is definitely going to affect more of the people who buy food than those who cook from home. And I'm not going to talk about cholesterol now because I believe people have heard about cholesterol. I'm going to talk about something that's a danger that's becoming more real to us. And it's called trans fats. Trans fats. Now, when we eat food, we have food that is deep fried. We have food that, like the sausages and chips and samosas that we find in our different places we buy food. Now, I'm not here to say deep fried food is bad and you should never eat it. Never is not something I use. We can use it once in a while. But my issue is, for most of these commercial deep fried foods, the people who use the oil use it multiple times, right? Actually, the one that had the chips at night is now frying samosas in the morning. And it will be recycled and then used to fry what? Chips in the evening. Then tomorrow morning it will fry cassava. And fish. It's a lot of mixing. So what happens is that the oil is overly exposed to the heat and it changes some of its structures from the normal oil it is to an oil part which is trans fats. And these have been shown to be harmful to our hearts, just like cholesterol would harm our hearts. Now, in case this is something that you pick up on every other day, my only advice is you could reduce the number of times you use it. So if you've been eating samosa Monday to Wednesday, you could say Monday is samosa, Tuesday is a banana. Mangoes are in season, you could do Wednesday mangoes. just as a way to reduce the amount of the trans fats you're taking in. So that's a way you can impact your heart. I'm going to ask another question, and it's about your gut health. Our gut is the place from the mouth to when the food goes what? Out. And I'm going to keenly talk about the last part of that intestinal tract. The part that helps us to take out the what? The food. Now, I'm even going to tell him, I want to tell you that people are constipated. If at the end of every session you can tell people to eat vegetables, I'll be happy. The reason I say this is because almost every day, a person will walk out of the room and they will say, by the way, there's some other thing I have to tell you. I am very constipated. So it's becoming so common that there are people in this audience that believe it's normal to have constipation. It's true. I've had someone, I was eavesdropping my niece's conversation, and she said, that girl takes long in the toilet. And she comes out like she's crying. I know I'm telling jokes that are not so appropriate, but it's to get your attention. So that means for this niece of mine, she notices that her friend has a battle every time she goes for number 2. Someone says. Now, this is so dangerous that we are getting cases of people presenting with hemorrhoids, that is bleeding of the anal area. When you look down at the toilet seat, you see blood. Why? Because you're passing food that's so hard or very few times that it's damaging your anal area, and you're having tears and you're bleeding. This hurts me so much because we also know that people who are having chronic constipation every day of their lives, they have struggle or battles when they go for number, are also more likely to have issues like colon cancers. I'm not saying it's the cause, I'm just saying you're more likely, your risk is higher. But the good news is, it's actually something so easy to prevent by just eating a vegetable and a fruit with every meal. What this does for you is it provides you an opportunity to take in a lot of fiber, because vegetables and fruits are rich in fiber, and they help you to soften the stool. In addition to that, because you remember in our primary science, those who studied those years, fiber was called roughages, remember? Which we now call fiber. Fiber has a water holding ability, so it holds water to that stool. That means the stool will be soft. But in addition to that, if you remember, roughages or fiber are not digestible. That means we take them out. We don't absorb them. They're not digestible. We don't absorb them into the body. We take them out. Think about the bukuta on a mango, the fiber on a mango, the fiber in cabbage or tomatoes or banana. Some of it goes out with your stool. That means it gives you bulk. So bulk means that every day you'll get a chance to have a bowel movement, and a soft one. It's important, not a struggle one. And that means you'll be protecting your anal area from bleeding, and you'll be protecting your health. And again, it's as simple as making sure with your breakfast, there's a vegetable. With your lunch, there's a vegetable. With your dinner, there's a vegetable. And between meals, instead of eating mandazi, you could eat bananas. Same price. Offices, am I talking to you? People have biscuits and mandas in their offices, and the parents here claim they buy for their children. They want the same things. Please talk more fruit than snack. in your home. I feel very bad when I see a child coming back from school and they're holding a pack of gorillas or crisps. The whole day this child was at school, they ate everything energy. They probably didn't eat a fruit. They didn't eat a vegetable. Your after school snack is an opportunity to help the child catch up on their fruit intake. And unlike adults, the child would definitely tell you, Mommy, I am feeling bad or pain every time I go for number. For you, the adults, you don't tell us, but you suffer in silence. In silence, like in a confident prayer. Please, more fruit and vegetables. My time is really up, and it's been a delight. I would go on and on about food, but what I believe is that the 4 tips I've given about food are a good starting point. And as a conclusion, in the event that you wonder what it's like to eat healthy at every single meal, the basics we learned in primary 4 or 5 still count: a balanced diet. Have a carbohydrate, that's the food that gives you energy. Have a protein, that's the food that helps you to preserve your muscles. And have vegetable and fruit, for which purpose we know now. So don't just serve food. You find someone, especially the younger people in the room, someone is taking porridge plus cassava. Carbohydrate plus carbohydrate. Eh? You order chips plus soda, carbohydrate plus carbohydrate. And you are a degree student. Really? You're eating fried matoke plus millet porridge. Carbohydrate plus carbohydrate. Where is the protein? Don't you know you have muscles in your body that need to be preserved? You need to have a protein with every meal. Even your heart is a muscle, and muscles are made of protein. You have a meal, mereyona, those who have access to buffet. And then, in addition to that meal that has enough energy, you had an energy drink. Me, I love energy drink, it gives me energy. You've already eaten energy. What are you looking for? You're going to fight? Is there a war we don't know about? People might be taking the spiritual fight seriously, physically. Please stop overdosing on one food group. A balanced diet should be balanced: a carbohydrate, a protein, a source of vegetables. And by the show of hands in the room, for the people who are not exercising, it means that most of us are sedimentary, which means we don't use a lot of energy. So there is no reason whatsoever you're eating mereyona. Half that mereyona and put vegetables. Stop having battles. I'm Regina, again, Nantege. I love food and I love helping people modify their health with food. We get changes in people's body weight. People lose over 30 kilos. People control their blood sugar levels. People become healthier overall, but mainly because they live in purpose and they don't eat aimlessly. Eat like you love your body. Eat like you have one body. Because at the end of the day, without your body, you are not alive. And without your body, you cannot serve the Lord. Thank you.
Praise the Lord. Ask your neighbor, eating mereyona today? Or some porridge and chapati in the morning. I think, Regina, you've gotten so many of us this day. Some porridge and chapati in the morning so that you can stay what? Strong. And then you add on mereyona during what? lunch time, plus a soda. Wow. May the Lord have mercy on us. I want to ask if there are 3 people with a question, so that we use 3 minutes to ask to Regina here, and then we shall go. A question? Yes, Uncle Paul. Someone can take the microphone, please. Take the microphone. Please come. The questions are coming.
Thank you so much, Regina. You've been a great blessing to us as a community. We hope we can have you again and again. A hand clap to the Health Awareness Committee. I have 2 questions. One, I would appreciate a comment on juicing vis-a-vis balanced diet, and a comment on extended fasting. Thank you.
Okay. Should I take one at a time and respond, or? Okay.
Take them together so that we can, maybe some of them will be repetitive.
Yeah, sure. Let me write them down.
Thank you, Madam Regina, for sharing such wonderful insights about health and fitness.
Yeah, okay, I will.
Mine is only a reminder that we have a UCU Fitness Club that can ably guide you on your journey of transformation. And yes, we would like to invite everyone present here today. We've been guided on the importance of exercises. And maybe one more thing that we need to add is how important they are in building or fostering community among us. We have so many stresses, so many things separating us, but when we meet and walk, run, exercise together, we build stronger bonds between us, and together we are able to support each other on other journeys, academic, social, any other thing along the way. Thank you.
Okay, I will answer those as they move the mic to the other side so that we save time. So, extended fasting. So we fast, most of us fast for spiritual reasons. And the main thing I want to say is that if it's spiritual, definitely it's a decision that you've made for spiritual reasons. But it's important that you pay attention to who you are as an individual and your health outcomes. I know it's not new to us that we have had people doing extended fasting to the point of death. It's few cases, but you've heard about them. And I think what struck me most once is a medical student one time at even master's level lost his life because he was fasting, and what killed him was undernutrition. So while God loves for us to pray, I think he also loves for us to be alive. So, and you should be around when your blessings come. So, if the blessings you're praying for find you dead, who will enjoy them? Who will testify? Who? So, please pay attention to yourself. Some of us may have health conditions, and our doctors have had conversations about the fact that we may not be able to sustain extended periods of fasting, but we still go ahead and do so. And just to pin that point down is I've also had a story, it made me want to cry, of a gentleman who was told he had a lung problem, but he insisted and went for an overnight in the cold. And of course he died. So we pray together, but you have your reality. Pay attention to your body. Don't do extreme things that will make you miss your blessings. Yes, and when you're starting to fast, please take it slow. Don't come from eating how we have said you're eating to tomorrow eating nothing. Your body will be in shock. Usually what? You know the way, porridge and chapati, merayona, evening chips, then tomorrow nothing. Only water. Please, there is a transition time. You know you're going to fast at the start of the month. Take 3 days to transition. And when you're also resuming, transition gradually. You've had stomach upsets after your fasting periods where you eat something and you just feel bad. You're vomiting, etc. Please give your body the respect it deserves. Now, on juicing. Juicing is a myth that to a very large extent is doing more harm than good, at least in Ugandan context and the patients I've seen. Why? Because it's a beautiful thing for you to get your fruits and your vegetables, blend them and drink them, because most of the time, maybe you're not able to eat them whole. So instead of carrying nakati to add to your lunch, maybe you blend some green things and fruit and you drink it as a juice. A very brilliant concept, especially if you don't sieve the juice, because you're getting the fiber, the vitamins and everything. Why I said to a large extent it's become harmful is because most people are doing juicing while abstaining from all the other foods. So you find someone is juicing, they're not eating any source of protein. For example, for weight loss, you will lose the weight. But the moment you stop the juicing, you gain back all the weight. Actually, you come back bigger and better. The only thing you lost is your money. It happens. And during the time when you're small, you look tired, you're irritable, you have busungu, you're tired all the time, you're wasting. Why? Because you're depriving your body of protein, and when you're depriving it of protein, which it does not know how to make, it taps into your muscle to break down the muscle tissues to amino acids, which it supplies the body for other functions. So you lose weight very fast because you're getting dehydrated, and also you're losing muscle mass. Yet what you're looking for is fat loss, not muscle mass. That's why you regain the weight. But it's a short time, so I can't go into the detail. My point is, if you're doing juicing to help you eat your fruit and vegetable, good. If you're doing it to lose weight, you're doing it to cleanse yourself. What's cleansing even? Spare that money. If it is disturbing you, give it to orphans. Follow the healthy plate technique, it will do the magic for you. And if you struggle still, you can consult a dietitian, you have a nutrition course here, you have students, you can talk to them and they guide you on the proper thing to do.
One question.
Yeah.
Just one question.
Okay. I've been called, exercise has captured my attention. You said that we can do exercises in 2 minutes. So I just wanted you to give us some clues on which exercises can we do in such a short time. Because people may be scared by running around and other forms of exercises. Can you give us a brief few of them to help us? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Before I answer that one, there was a question or a concern on pork and meat, and it's usually a big concern I get. You don't have to stop eating meat or pork. You people are overclapping. People might think I've given you money. Small. Okay, and this is why. Those 2 meats are a source of protein, and they are also a source of iron. However, the fat on those meats is not relevant to you. So you remove the fat and you eat a lean cut of the meat. Because what you need is the protein and iron, not the fat. Remove the fat and use the meat. Ideally, most Ugandans do not eat meat in ½ kilo per serving, apart from a few cases. So we rarely exceed the maximum that is harmful. So the reason I say that is you find someone eating 4 pieces of meat and they're scared meat is bad. What do you mean when you eat only 4 pieces? Meat is bad if you're eating like ½ kilo every day, which is not the case for you. Let me answer the question on exercise and leave.
Yes.
Because people are so happy. And remember to do the healthy plate, not a full plate of meat. Meat, vegetables. Okay, so exercise, what I meant by 2 minutes is it's a good way to start. For example, I have days where I'm going to go and run 21 kilometers, 10 kilometers, but those are few. Some days I'm really busy. So on those days when I retire, I go home and realize I've done nothing. I do at least 2 minutes. And here is what 2 minutes look like. 2 minutes can mean just walking around your house 2 times or 3 times, depending on the size. 2 minutes can mean about 200 rope skips if you're fast. Imagine if just that, but you'd sweat a bit. 2 minutes can mean over 10 push-ups for some of you, or